Good morning, grade 8, and today I am going to discuss with you and revise. First, I'm going to start out with revising the vocab from the boy in the striped pajamas because you guys have a quiz on it, and then I will go into discussing the study guides and see if you have any questions regarding the quiz on Wednesday. All right, so remember, Adam and ladies, that your quiz will be on Wednesday. Inshallah, it's going to be on the boy in the striped pajamas. It's going to cover chapters 11 to 15. Okay, if you guys go to the boy in striped pajamas folder and if you go to term 2, you guys will see that I have posted the study guides for chapter 11, 12, 13, and 14 and 15. And also this sheet right here, which is a vocab list. All right, I provided the page number so that you guys would know where would you find. So one by one, I'm going to go over the words so that, again, I need you guys to remember them for your vocab, because remember, the quiz is going to include details from the novel, also vocabulary. These 14 words will be on the exam, okay, on the quiz. So to number one, the word here is to enunciate, and to enunciate means to pronounce or to speak the word, okay? So it's a verb, and it means to speak or to pronounce a word clearly, okay? I'm going to remind you that this is a word that was used by Bruno's father when he was telling his son that he must enunciate words or speak them clearly when the fairy comes, okay? When he comes for a visit. So we know that the fairy is another word for, or this is the name that they have given to Adolf Hitler. This is a type of flashback, okay, because it's the way that the author is going back in time to remind the reader of the visit that occurred. Okay, and remember that visit was the reason why Bruno's father gets his promotion. Okay, so the fairy comes and he visits with his wife, and we had, as you guys read, okay, he was very rude according to Bruno. Okay, he considers him the rudest guest that they ever had. And Bruno is very much fascinated by his wife, that she's very beautiful, but also with her kindness and how nice she was with the children. Okay, so let's not forget that you guys are able to compare and contrast between how uh, um, how the furry was with the children versus how Eva was, which is the furry's wife, with the children. Extravagant is basically when you decide to do something that is very expensive and very flashy. Okay, so again, extravagant is an adjective to describe something that is expensive and flashy. Okay, so for example, if you decide to have an extravagant birthday party, then you're gonna have one that is very costly. All right, you'll have the best cake. You might bring a someone to a DJ. Okay, so you're basically going overboard. You have no limitations in spending, and you're doing something that is extremely fancy and flashy. All right, disdain is your another word, and disdain is a noun, and disdain is basically is the idea of treating someone as if they are below you. Okay, someone who is below you. Okay, and like for example, that they don't deserve to have, they don't deserve the respect. Yeah. Okay, guys. So basically, disdain is the idea that you're treating someone that they are less worthy than 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 okay, less worthy than you, that you are superior to them or that you are better than them. So disdain is a noun or the idea of looking down at someone. Okay, looking down. All right, you're looking down on someone or treating them as if they are below you. okay, in respect and so on. Same way that the that Pavel treated that sorry Lieutenant Cutler treats Pavel. He treats him with disdain. Okay, so disdain here is the idea of looking down or treating someone with as if they don't deserve their respect or they're not deserving their respect. Okay, this is what disdain is. All right, the snippets. Um, Okay, so again, snippets are little bits and pieces of something. All right, so if you listen to snippets of a conversation, that means you didn't listen to the whole conversation. You only listen to little pieces of it. All right, not the whole dialogue, not the whole thing. Okay, so again, snippets is a noun, and it's referring to the idea of listening to pieces or parts of something. Okay, small. Uh, here to he heard not the whole thing. Okay, so this is what snippets are. We meet the word mended when we meet Shmuel. Okay, in one of the chapters, Shmuel talks about his private life, and he talks about the fact that his father mended shoes. This so this is basically the idea of mended here means to fix or to repair, which is a verb. Okay, to fix or repair. This is what Shmuel's father did for a living in Poland before they were taken to the concentration camps. And we need to understand that they had a very pleasant life. They seemed to be very satisfied as a small happy family. They lived in a small house together. Mom, Shmuel's father, Shmuel and his younger brother Joseph. His father gave him a very special watch. We can tell that this watch means a lot to Shmuel. All right, but again, it was taken away from Shmuel upon his arrival at With, okay, the concentration camp, which shows that the soldiers or the German soldiers were taking away or stripping away everything that these people had, okay, from belongings and possessions, even to their dignity and their human rights. Okay, to contradict is a verb, and it's to oppose or disagree. Okay, so if you are contradicting, or if my views contradict with your views, that means that we do not see on the same page. Okay, I might feel that that school uniform is the best way to go, but if your views contradict mine, that you might say that it's better for students to dress down or to come in their own clothes. Okay, so to contradict means to be opposing. A catastrophe, it's a basically a sudden conflict that occurs, that causes a lot of destruction and maybe even loss. Okay, so a sudden conflict that causes destruction or loss. And here, the catastrophe. Where did we see it in the novel? We saw it when Bruno was at the dinner table. We know that the special guest that was coming to invite them, that they invited over for dinner, was Lieutenant Kotler, and we know that Bruno was not happy about having Lieutenant Kotler over for dinner over the dinner table. We know that Bruno disliked his presence because he doesn't like Lieutenant Kotler for several reasons that were mentioned in chapter 15. Okay, about 6 or 7 reasons that we need to remember for the quiz. During that time, during that dinner, we noticed that Bruno makes a few observations about Pavel. Please know these, okay? Observations. He's noticed that he's very pale. His eyes are filled with tears, okay, from pain and sadness. He's unbalanced. He's unable to stand, so he has to lean against the wall for support. He's unable to hold or carry the dishes because they're heavy. All right, even the bottle of wine that he's serving the family. He's not concentrating on his job as a waiter because again, his job is to fill their cups and their plates with more servings and portions of food once they're empty. So he doesn't realize this, and he keeps making the mistake of not filling the glass of wine or father's glass of wine at the right moment. Okay, and he also doesn't hear mom when she needs an extra serving of soup. She had to call him over about 3 or 4 times until he heard her. So we can tell that he's really struggling, and by the looks of it, he knows, or Bruno suspects that Pavel is going to do something wrong that day that's going to cause a big problem. Okay, this is what the catastrophe is. All right, and the catastrophe here was, of course, when Pavel spills the wine over Lieutenant Cutler's lap because his hands were shaking, and the wine bottle was a new one, so it was full and heavy. And Pavel, being weak and fragile and old in age, he wasn't able to hold it quite right, and it spilled uh, uh, its contents or the wine over Lieutenant Cutler. Lieutenant Cutler is very aggressive. He gets up. The book doesn't mention what he does, but we can infer that it wasn't pretty. It was very violent. No one from Bruno's family tried to stop Lieutenant Cutler, and this is one of the things that Bruno, you know, thinks about when he's in bed. How could father be a nice man and not interfere to stop such cruelty? And we can infer or guess that Lieutenant Cutler kills Pavel. All right, Pavel dies from how aggressive and how cruel Lieutenant Cutler beat him. Okay, so that being said, we're gonna move on to the next word, which is torrent. A torrent is a noun also, and it refers to a flow of water. We meet the word torrent again when we were describing Pavel, and they said that his eyes were filled with tears, that a torrent of tears was going to flood out if he blinks his eyes. That means a lot of water were kind of like trapped in his eyes, tears per se, from all the sadness. So basically, a torrent is a flow of water, a heavy flow of water. Okay, incumbent is an adjective, and it describes a person's duty. Okay, like for example, it's incumbent for certain people to attend the army at a certain age. Okay, so basically, incumbent means something that you must do as the law says. It's incumbent for us to vote. Okay, because again, this is something that the country needs us to do. All right, it's incumbent for us to um, wear our seatbelts while we drive. Okay. Again, these are laws set by the government that we must adhere to or we must follow. Incumbent was used by in the novel when Lieutenant Cutler mentions that his father is no longer living in Germany, that he left Germany and he moved to Switzerland. Okay? And you guys need to remember that this is very important because it shows that Lieutenant Cutler's father left Germany for a reason. And this is a major conflict between the commandant and Cutler, Lieutenant Cutler, because this is the first time for the commandant or Bruno's father to know that Lieutenant Collar's father had a problem with Germany. He first suspects that he may be tubercular. Okay, and tubercular is a person that suffers from tuberculosis, which is a disease that affects the lungs. So the commandant inquires and asks Lieutenant Cutler, was your father tubercular? Did he leave to Switzerland because he suffered from tuberculosis and he needed to go to get fresh air? Or is he a coward and a traitor that left Germany at a time where Germany needed its citizens? Because remember, Germany, this is a war, okay? This is a time of World War II, and Hitler believed that that Germany could make the best out of it. That this is the time of Hitler of Germany's glory, and that Germany needs the support and the help of its citizens to rebuild itself. Okay, so for Lieutenant Cutler's father to leave at such a crucial time, it is very significant, and it shows that maybe he was not really with what Hitler was doing. Okay, and then the lieutenant gets very nervous. Okay, and father mentions that he will discuss this later at another suitable time. Okay, so we could tell that we're suspecting or foreshadowing a conflict with Lieutenant Cutler is going to take place. So again, incumbent is to describe a duty that is obligated by the law. Okay. All right. All right. Another word here that we have is the word dilemma. The word dilemma, and the word dilemma is also a problem. All right, but I don't want you to confuse it on the quiz with the word catastrophe, because they're different. All right, a dilemma is a noun also, but a dilemma is used when a person is stuck between two choices. A dilemma occurs when a person is stuck between two choices and they have to make a choice. All right, so you are stuck between attending a birthday party or attending a wedding. So you have two events that you want to show up for, but you have to choose one, okay? Because obviously you can't be there at the same time. This is a dilemma. Of course, this is an easy choice that you can make, but dilemmas are any situation where you're stuck between making two choices and you need to just choose one over the other. Crucial is an adjective. That's the next word. And it is to describe something that's definitely important. Okay, to attend school. All right, because again, attending school helps you succeed. All right, it's crucial to attend extracurricular. Okay, so something that is important. Why is it important? Because it's going to aid in your success. Okay, and important and will aid in success. That means we need it to be successful. Okay, so it is crucial to, for example, follow instructions on the exam, because if you don't, you're going to lose points. All right, if you do, you will succeed. So crucial means something that is important. Not only that it's important, but it will, if you do it or if you follow it, it will lead to success. Your existence or existence overall is referring to being alive. All right, so someone's existence is their well-being and their presence in the world. Okay, so now the presence. Okay, the presence and being of one. Like, okay, like your existence is very needed. All right, we need you to be there with us. Sophistication is a noun. Sophistication refers to the idea of being sophisticated. All right, and being sophisticated really means that a person is highly knowledgeable. Okay, okay, so the idea of being knowledgeable Okay, advanced, decent. Okay, we can say elegant. All right. Sophistication could be used to describe or not. Yeah, yeah, like it could refer to a person. It could even refer to non-living things. All right. I've heard before devices or little technological pieces being called sophisticated devices. All right. They're sophisticated devices because they are advanced. Okay. They have a lot of knowledge. A person is sophisticated when they are well educated, someone who is works at a prestigious place, someone with lots of knowledge. Okay, this is what sophistication is. Grimace again is a now the word grimace refers to a facial expression that shows disgust or disapproval. All right, imagine yourself eating a dish that you do not like or something that you it's not your favorite meal, and you taste it and you grimace. Okay, it's all over your face. It shows. Okay, a grimace shows on your face when you show a face of disapproval, something that you do not accept or you dislike. The facial expression that you make when you when something upsets you, something that you don't like, maybe something that's disgusting, like a taste or a situation. Okay, like for example, when Bruno looked at people getting beat up, he could have possibly grimaced from how violent, even though Bruno looked away. Okay, let's just remember that Bruno didn't look at people getting hurt. The scene was so gruesome and so violent, mentioned in the book, that Bruno and Gretel looked away and their faces grew pale. Okay, this is how bad it was. Any questions about the vocab? If you guys have any questions about the vocab,
No.
okay, so all these vocabs are the vocab that are coming on the quiz on Wednesday. All right. Does anyone have any questions regarding the study guides of 11 to 12, 13 to 14, 13, 14, and 15? This is study guide number 12. I mean, for chapter 11. Do you have any questions from here, Adam, for chapter 12? Did you look at these? Did you look at these questions, Adam?
Yes.
Okay,
I
baby.
looked for 12 and 13.
You have
That
questions
was
on
I looked,
you have questions on chapter
but I
12?
didn't look. No, but I didn't look at 14 and 15.
Okay, did you read 14 and 15 yet?
No,
You didn't read the novel 14 and 15 yet?
not yet.
Okay.
I will read them today.
All right. Please do, because these are very important chapters. Chapter 14, focuses on basically, it focuses on the rain. Okay, it was a rainy day. It was started off with a rainy day. Bruno, because of the rain, so he was stuck home. He stayed in his bedroom reading. And he tells her, he makes a comment that says, I should be with Shmuel right now. I'm him. And of course, this is a big mistake. He says it abruptly. And abruptly means he says it quickly without thinking. Okay? And quickly without thinking, meaning that he said something that he shouldn't have said. We all know that Bruno never told his family about the discovery that he made, which is Shmuel. He kept it a secret because he's afraid that his parents might stop him from being friends with Shmuel. Because remember, exploring was unacceptable at all times with no exceptions. Okay? So when he says that, of course, Griddle insists on knowing who's Shmuel. Okay, who is that person that you said that you're supposed to go see? Who is that person that you're worried about? And Shmuel, of course, has no way out except for to lie. And to cover himself, he says, Shmuel is an imaginary person that I made up. He's my imaginary friend. Okay, and of course, we know that this, of course, is difficult. Like this is a lie that he only says to cover up his situation with Griddle. Okay, he doesn't want her asking questions. He doesn't want her to suspect that he truly does have a friend named Shmuel. Okay, because he will get in trouble, and also it'll be a big problem. When he does this, we need to remember that he thinks of he wants to blush because he wants to make it seem like he's embarrassed by the idea of having a fake friend or an imaginary friend. So he thinks of things that make him blush. Okay, and we need to remember these things for the study guide here. All right. So again, what does Bruno notice is different from about Shmuel? Remember, Shmuel that day had a black eye. Okay, a black eye means when someone hurts you and the blood is clotting. Okay, it's like a black or purple sometimes color. How does Shmuel react to this black eye? Shmuel doesn't want to acknowledge it. He doesn't want to talk about it. All right, he wants to avoid discussing it, and he wants to pretend that it's not there. All right, that's what Shmuel wants. He doesn't want to talk about it at all. All right. What does Bruno ask about daily? Bruno is constantly asking Shmuel whether or not he should. When is he gonna come on the other side of the fence? All right. He's very eager to pay Shmuel a visit, and Shmuel, of course, understands that this is impossible to happen and it's against the law. So Shmuel keeps telling him, it's not a good idea. And finally, Shmuel tells him, I don't know why you're so eager to come over here. It's not pleasant. Okay, the other side of the fence where I am is not a good place to be. So you shouldn't be eager to come over. All right. Bruno makes a remark that shows his inconsideration about Shmuel. Bruno mentions to Shmuel that he's very upset about his house in Outwith because it only has 3 rooms instead of 5 bedrooms or 5 rooms. And of course, he forgets that Shmuel has once lived in a one room with 11 people. So this is here showing that he felt a little inconsiderate about Shmuel feelings. Okay, and also we see Bruno being inconsiderate again about Shmuel's feelings when Shmuel tells him about his grandpa. Remember, Shmuel mentions to Bruno that his grandpa is missing and they can't find him, suggesting that he has died. Okay, because every time Shmuel asks father about his grandpa, the father just cries and hugs Shmuel tightly. So we can infer again that the grandfather has died or has been killed by the German army. But Bruno never really sympathizes with Shmuel at that time, and he never tries to cheer him up or express how sorry he is for his grandfather's loss. So again, here Bruno says that he owes Shmuel an apology for not trying to cheer him up when he told him about his grandpa. All right, how does Bruno truly feel about the striped pajamas? When they were talking, Bruno asks Shmuel, "Why do you always wear the striped pajamas?" And he says, "We have to." Bruno says that he doesn't like striped pajamas, and he contradicts himself. Because he mentions later that he does like striped pajamas and that he feels a little envious or jealous because how come Shmuel gets to wear striped pajamas all day and be very comfortable in them, whereas he has to wear trousers and shirt and a tie and tight shoes, and looking very professional and dressed very serious all the time. Okay, this is his idea or his feelings about the striped pajamas. The rain, of course, here the rain is what prevented Bruno from visiting Shmuel. What did Bruno do instead of visiting Shmuel? He stays in his room and he reads a novel. And who comes to visit him? Griddle, his sister, pays him a visit. Griddle, enjoys rearranging her dolls during her free time. So this is what she does. But this day, on this specific day, she felt very bored and she decided to come and have a talk with Bruno. What statement does Bruno make again quickly without thinking? He mentions that I shouldn't be here right now. I need to be with Shmuel. I'm afraid that Shmuel will think that I forgot about him. How does he cover up this statement? By lying and pretending that Shmuel is an imaginary friend that he made up. All right, and he shows that he's very embarrassed about this because it's such a childish thing to do, to have an imaginary friend. In order for to make himself blush or go red from embarrassment, he thinks of embarrassing moments. These embarrassing moments that he thinks about are the day that Grandma walked in the bathroom on him. Then he also thinks about the day that he fell off his bike in front of girls, and he thinks about the day that he called his teacher mom in the classroom. So these are the three embarrassing things that he thinks about to try to provoke some redness or some blushing in his face. What are some topics Bruno mentions that he discusses with Shmuel? A lot. Okay, he mentioned that he discusses where Shmuel came from, his previous life in Poland before the camp. He has discussed Berlin with him. He has mentioned to him how much he misses Berlin, and how much, and he described his neighborhood and the stalls and the people that were there and his friends, Mark, Daniel, and the third friend, and Martin. And he also mentions that Shmuel has told him that his grandfather, has gone missing. All right, these are some of the things that he mentions to Griddle that that he and Bruno, that him and Shmuel discuss. What can we infer happened to Shmuel's grandfather? We can guess or infer that that Shmuel's grandfather has been killed. All right, because they mentioned that he has been missing. No one has seen him. And of course, this is Shmuel's perspective. But again, we know from the way that father is treating him, every time Shmuel asks about his grandpa, the father hugs him and cries. So we see here a sense of loss. Before Greta leaves the room, she tells Bruno how childish he is to have an imaginary friend, and that she can't imagine herself doing such a childish thing because she's so mature and she's turning 13 years old, and that she, of course, would never be so childish like Bruno. Okay, again, this here is irony, because after, or whatever she says, where is the irony here? As soon as she leaves her room, where does she go? Bruno's room. She goes to her own room, and she starts to talk to her dolls. All right, and she starts to scold them or scream at them for not for getting themselves into a mess. All right, and now she has to rearrange them again. So again, this is ironic because she thinks that, or she's making fun of Bruno for having an imaginary friend. She's also telling him that she's very mature, that she would never be able to do something like that. But then we see her turn around and go to her room and talk to her dolls. Okay, so this is ironic, or something that is contradicting. She's contradicting what she says. She says one thing and does another. Okay, so this is an example of a situational irony. Okay, this is chapter 14. All right, in a nutshell. Chapter 15 here, we go into more detail about father's birthday party, how mom plans it, okay, how she arranges everything with the help of Lieutenant Kotler. We mentioned all the reasons why that Bruno dislikes Lieutenant Kotler. We know some of them from previous chapters, like the fact that he calls him little man. He hates that. He hates the way that he and Griddle are close, and he hates the way that Griddle behaves around Lieutenant Kotler. He dislikes the way that Lieutenant Kotler makes himself in charge, or he pretends that or he walks around as if he owns the house, when father is gone on overnight trips to Berlin. He hates the idea of what Pavel of what he hates what Lieutenant Kotler for what he did to Pavel. All right, for hurting him. All right, being so violent with him. He dislikes Lieutenant Kotler for shooting the barking dog. Okay, he said that one day he saw Lieutenant Kotler shoot a dog that was barking too loud. Okay, again here, this is just showing or adding more evidence to Lieutenant Kotler's aggression and his very cruel behavior. All right, he hates the fact that he never smiles. All right, so all these are. He hates also the fact that his mom laughs with Lieutenant Kotler, not the same way that she laughs with father. So he doesn't like the fact that mom is very close with Lieutenant Kotler, and not with his father. All right. So when he says, "Don't worry, this one knows which side his bread is buttered on," this is a statement that was made by Lieutenant Kotler. Remember, Lieutenant Kotler brought Shmuel over from the concentration camps to the Atwith house, to Bruno's house in Atwith, so that he could polish the glass because they needed someone with very small hands to get inside and polish the glass. So that he's able to put his hand inside the small glasses. All right. He Lieutenant Kotler spoke these words to mother, to Bruno's mom, and again he was talking about who did he mean by the statement? He meant Bruno. I mean he was referring to Shmuel. That means that what does the statement mean? It means that basically that Shmuel is not going to cause any problems because he knows what to do for his own benefit. All right, he knows to avoid trouble at all costs. All right. Well, we know that Bruno was trying to read a book that his father gave him about the Treasure Island. It's called Treasure Island, and his father gave it to him, and he wanted to sit in the living room. He wasn't able to sit in the living room because mom wanted to have a private word with Lieutenant Kotler in the living room, so he was asked to go to the kitchen. When he goes to the kitchen, who does he see there? He sees Bruno. He sees Shmuel, and that was the biggest surprise of his life. All right, and again, they compare hands. Okay, Bruno compares his own hand with Shmuel's own hands. You need to know the comparison there. Okay, we need to understand that Lieutenant Kotler, of course, sees Shmuel eating the piece of chicken that Bruno had offered him. Okay, we need to understand that Shmuel was about to get in very deep trouble, which he did, and the only way to protect himself is to say that, of course, he didn't steal this food, that Bruno gave it to him, and that Bruno is his friend. And we see that Bruno did a very coward act, and he denied his friendship with Shmuel, and he said he told Lieutenant Kotler that he never met Shmuel in his life, and that he never spoke to him before. He doesn't know him. And of course, we know that Lieutenant Kotler took Shmuel back to the concentration camp and he punched him severely. Okay, he hurt him. He was bruised all over. Shmuel stopped meeting Bruno by the fence for about 6 days, but he shows up on the seventh day, and Bruno is very apologetic and he shows remorse and shame for what he did. And Shmuel forgives him, and they both extend their arms below the fence and they touch for the first time and they shake hands. All right, so please, this is a quick revision for the quiz on Wednesday, vocab and novel. And if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to message me. And the meeting will end. So, Adam, I will contact you right now. Take care.
Okay, bye.